Welcome to West Virginia Commonplace today. I got a special guest with me. This is a behind the scenes episode. This guy, he is what we call a digital creator. He is responsible and he won't take credit for it for at least, I want to say, 52% of the podcast you're hearing out here. He ain't gonna take a claim on that, but 52, either they got an influence, they got a record, they got something with this man. I have with me Rsay, and Rsay will tell you a little bit about himself, and he will tell you about the two podcasts he has, but then we're gonna get into detail about what he does behind the scenes. So tell him, Rsay, a little bit about yourself, where you from, where you at, what you doing, how life's treating you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it. I have a feeling this is going to be really fun. But my name's Rsay. Follow me on Instagram, RSAYSR. That's Rsay Senior. I also have a podcast called the Rsay Podcast where I talk about my mental health for the most part and taking psychedelics in order to treat my anxiety and depression. And I also have a fun one. You know, it's not all serious. So I have the Skank Bank. That's based off. It's a fan cast based off of the Legion of Skanks podcast, and that's done every week. You can catch both podcasts on all major platforms, and you can check them out on YouTube.
Okay, okay, and I like to hear that. I'm glad you did the shameless plug before I had to ask you for it, because most people they won't even do that. So, Rsay, tell us about your.
You
Tell
said
us
get
about a
it
little.
out. You said to get it all out of the way, so I want to make sure to get it all out of the way.
Yeah, because see, the thing is crazy. Like, there's people that listen for the first 5 minutes and they stop, and then I got people like in the middle of my shows they don't listen. They just skip to like, if I do a 30-minute episode, they'll do 7 minutes, skip seven
Yeah,
minutes, and then go to the end. So we definitely want to get all the information out there. So tell us about
isn't
your
that
upbringing.
crazy?
Yeah, it is kind of
Um,
crazy.
my upbringing. I was born in Neptune, New Jersey, and at the age of 11, my parents split up. I moved to Virginia, where I'm at now. Pretty much been here the whole time. I joined the military in 2001, did one term, got out, came right back to Virginia, and stayed here ever since. Yeah, that's and then I just started podcasting, man.
What year did you start podcasting?
2018.
20. So yeah, you're a veteran like me. Then you know the game.
Been in it
Um,
for a little while.
Yeah, and that's one thing. So we'll definitely talk some podcast stuff in this episode. One thing I like to say too is it's finally great to have people from Virginia on here, even though you're a transplant. Like
Yeah,
I'm actually from Lynchburg, Virginia, which is below where you're from, and it's like
about an hour and a
crazy. Like
half,
so,
maybe two.
yeah, it's crazy. Like how many people linked up and so close. Like in my travels with my other job, I really wish I could, barring COVID, I wish I had like met some people in 2018, 2019 and did live shows with them because it's like
Right.
these dudes just live. Sometimes people was like 30 minutes from my hotel, and I got conference rooms there, so that kind of mixes it up there. So, with your first part podcast, RSA podcast, tell us a little bit. Like, let's go a little in depth into that. What when did you decide to create that, and why did you create it?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. All right. So initially, I had another podcast with two other guys. That didn't pan out. We did, I don't know, 9 or 10 episodes, maybe 12, and we all went our separate ways. But I was the one that started the podcast essentially, so I wanted to keep podcasting. So what I did was, and I was going through some stuff at the time. So I tried to continue the podcast by calling it Fredericksburg's Finest, where I interviewed local people, whether you're a musician, a wrestler. I got a wrestler that's on here, basketball players. I got some basketball players on there. And then I don't know something. Well, the pandemic happened, honestly, and couldn't go nowhere, couldn't do nothing. So I started this other little section or segment, if you will, called "Follow My Journey," where I just talked about my mental health and how I was feeling, at that time, and that's what piqued my interest into psychedelics. So excuse me. And so I started podcasting about psychedelics, and then next thing you know, it's just like it started this whole new thing, where I talk about my mental health, growing mushrooms, which I'm on my second batch now, and just basically just talking about myself, man, and it. So going back on why I started it, it was therapy. You know what I'm saying? It was basically
And
therapy for me.
and I appreciate that, man, because like mental health stigma, especially in men, and it can be based on race, whatever. But I'm just saying, as men, it is so hard to get people to talk about that and to be expressive because we were taught to not do that. We was taught not to, like I always say, we was taught to be Ford tough when some of us was built like
Facts.
Chevys.
Facts.
And you understand that wholeheartedly too. And being built like a Chevy, still a great vehicle, but you're not that tough. And that's something that we don't want to talk about. That not everybody's that tough. But I'm glad that you do that. Now the Skank Bank. What's going on with the Skank Bank?
Well, yeah, man. Like I said in the beginning, it's a comedy podcast based. It's a fan cast, comedy podcast based on the Legion of Skanks. The Legion of Skanks is three friends. They've been doing it for over 10 years now. They're a comedy trio, and they're funny as hell, man. And so I wanted to be able to kind of take some of that same energy and bring it to the people that know me. You know what I'm saying? And so, me and a friend of mine called Kyle, we got together, and we're both Legion of Skanks fans, and we said, "Fuck it, man, let's do it." He's got a horror movie podcast with him and his girl. So, we're in the same realm. And since he's a Legion of Skanks fan, I'm a Legion of Skanks fan. We said, "Fuck it, let's just do it." You know what I'm saying? So there you go, man. That's
How
how
that
it was
started.
born. Yeah, exactly.
So you say pay a little homage and then make an episode. Now,
Yeah, we've
no,
got
no,
we've
you're.
gotten we've gotten some shout outs. We've gotten some recognition from
Ooh,
the Legion of Skanks as well. So that's cool. We'll take that. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, a few episodes ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, my co-host was actually on the Legion of Skanks for the Halloween episode, and ended up winning the Halloween contest,
what?
costume contest. And the reason he won was because this comedian by the name of Ari Shafir spit on his dick.
Oh Lord,
Yep.
that's a little.
Yeah.
That's a
And we
little. Yeah, that's a little.
I know. So we ended up breaking that down on actually we called the episode Spit Dick. So y'all go
Yeah,
check that out on YouTube, man. But it's fun, man. That's the thing. Like to me, I think podcasts sometimes can get way too serious, man. Way too serious. So we need to sometimes step back, be funny, sometimes be offensive. You know what I'm saying? And just roll with the punches. That's it.
right. And I tell people that because, like, everybody, anybody that listens to my show, they know that we got that serious Thursday show. But on a weekend, that Tuesday or Saturday, those are my what we call fuck this shit shows because we're
Yeah.
gonna do what we want. We're gonna have fun with it. It's gonna be expressive, and I definitely agree with that. You have to have fun in podcasting because it can't all be serious. Because at the end of the day, it all started out for us all as a hobby,
Facts.
and then some people platform it different ways, and some people keep it as a hobby. And then there's the other alternative that we don't talk that much about that you talked about. Is some people use this as therapy.
Yeah.
This is better than going to a therapist and spending tons of dollars, doing that. Now, Rsay, you hold many titles. Um, and let me tell you a little story about yourself real quick. And that's something I
Self
do when we
given, self given titles, by the way.
are self-giving. Okay. Well, let me tell you a little
Just
bit.
kidding. Just kidding.
A young man that he calls himself my protege or something like that, but he's not that. He's a colleague. Brandon Janot.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
Brandon J- Brandon Janot was brought to me by Podcastagram, and Brandon Janot's got this energy that's just crazy. So anytime I need a collaboration or I have something fun to do, I pop up to him. Like we did an episode about Moonwalker. Nobody talked about Moonwalker,
I don't even know what
and
that is. But that's
you
cool.
don't know what Moonwalker, Michael Jackson
Uh
movie.
oh yeah. Oh my god. I
So
thought
you
it was
see what I'm
something
saying?
new.
So yeah,
Yeah,
nah,
yeah.
nah, nah.
Very niche. I give it. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's really out the way. So he said Rsay. And when he said Rsay, I thought that was some kind of new gum or some kind of new light alcoholic seltzer. I'm like, what the fuck is that Rsay? I
Yeah,
said
word is bond.
yeah, and I was like, or is that the new RC cola from the hood? And he's like, nah, you got to check out Rsay. And he's real vibrant. So I was like, okay. I was like, I've caught you a few times here and there on other people's stuff.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
for
like,
sure.
but like when you hear somebody else's stuff, because like you do quite a few collabos, you don't ever see anybody's name because I ain't gonna mention anybody, but we'll say this: there's a guy Bet the House. He does a lot of collaborations.
Yeah.
So some of his guests, not that he ever shadows them, but when you do stuff with him, you kind of just it's like you're part of the panel. You're part of the Bet the House family when you're over there.
That's what
So
happened. That's exactly what happened to me when I joined Measure of Men. I literally said, "Hey, screw it." I hit the request to join. I joined. He said, "Yo, keep coming back." Came back.
Yeah, and see, you're part of the Bet the House family. Shout out to Smash and all those guys out there and everybody doing that. So Brandon Jado tells me about you, and the thing I do is I got a partner, Trevor. He listens to everything, and I listen to some stuff too. But he diligently listens. So he started getting it. He threw me a few episodes when I do my traveling across the West Virginia, wherever. So I get in deep, and I was like, man, I'll talk to you. And you know how everybody does in podcast business. I'll say I probably started talking to you about doing an episode in August or September, and here we are now in November doing an episode, and that's just how life
Yeah.
falls. But I was
That's
like,
how it goes, man. It's exactly how it goes.
but the more and more I heard about you, I came across this group that's doing the most phenomenal thing in podcasting right now, which is Meet the Taylors. They are investing themselves into everybody's whatever. I contacted them because I was excited about them. They didn't know who I was, but
Yeah.
they jumped on everybody's platform and they're everywhere. And I like that they've done all this stuff without even a single podcast episode. Well, then they
Yes.
tell me,
The
well, they tell me,
Tylers.
yeah, the the Tyler. Did I say Meet the Taylors?
Yeah. It's
Well, I
all good
always
though.
say Meet the. Anyway, Meet the Tyler. Sorry about that. I don't know why I want to meet
Well,
the
no,
Taylor, but
they're up and coming. They're up and coming, and I give them the help that I wish I had at that time. You know what I'm saying? Because when I started, it was literally just my phone. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way they're starting. When they do their IG lives and stuff like that. So I give them a hand by hosting their podcast. Basically, what I do is I record it for them. They join on Zoom. I turn off my camera. You don't even see me there, and they do their own podcast. Basically, you know what I'm saying? But that's the kind of help I wish I had when I was when I was up and coming, like as if I'm a fucking veteran, which I'm not. But you know, so that's all I try to do, man. Even with the like, I do headliner clips for people, and
yeah,
granted, those are automated. You know what I'm saying? But not everybody has that access. So if I got the premiere, the pro version of it, and I do 2 podcasts a month, maybe 3, for myself, I feel like it's being wasted. So I just decided to start making clips for everybody and just start sending them out. You know what I'm saying? And it's all audio. So if you don't like, if you have a video podcast and you do video clips, it probably wouldn't benefit you. But if you don't, and it's all audio, it would benefit you. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, and see that's the thing I wanted to get into. Like you are a podcast producer. You say editor, but I'm gonna say producer over the whole thing. And the only difference in what we produce is like I'm the behind the scenes dude that writes episodes. Some people don't like that scripted stuff, but I tell them like this:
Yeah.
dollars and cents, it makes sense
That
to dollars.
that keeps it moving. That keeps it moving. People like structure in a podcast. You know what I'm saying? Especially these big podcasts. If you look at these big, huge podcasts, get millions of downloads. They have a structure. Maybe not Joe Rogan, but they definitely have a structure
Even he got a structure.
for
It's
the
kind of
most
like
part.
this. He's gonna just be raw with it. He made his structure when he first made his podcast.
Yeah, and it's just talk. That's it. Just talk about whatever. It doesn't even matter. You'll be on the Joe Rogan podcast for 2 or 3 hours, but it's a great podcast.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna speak nothing on Joe Budden or anything that he's got going on because he's a different type of podcaster in his own realm. But the
Oh
guys
yeah,
that work with,
Joe. Respect for Joe Budden and respect for Nori too for Drink
yeah,
Champs.
Nori,
Yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? The only thing about Drink Champs I wish they did was wear fucking headphones so you can hear each other. Because it seems like most of the time all they're doing is trying to talk over each other. You know what I mean?
yeah, and you do need to hear your sound. I agree with that. As many of these
Yeah.
Yeti mics as we use, I have.
Right.
I tell you this: if we do like when we do in person, I got 3 mics hooked up to the aggregated device. I ain't got no interface because I'm the USB man. So I'm making people wear headphones. I'm like, you need to hear what you're saying. You
Yeah.
don't need to be
Right.
worried about what I'm saying
Exactly.
because you can move one
Exactly.
headphone back.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
one thing I do want to real quick before you get into that, I want to go. I want to talk about like podcasting. If you have a podcast and you don't have a microphone, please get one. Seriously, it helps a lot. Even if it's a uh, what's it called? The one you wear on your freaking shirt.
Yeah.
A landlier mic. Even if it's something like that, man, please, work on the sound because if you don't, the mic on your phone or the mic on your computer picks up literally every freaking sound around you. So
Right.
let's say somebody drops something, automatically your voice gets cut off because that sound is so loud, and the way it's all done through Zoom or Streamyard, it just picks up that sound real good, man, and it messes up the audio.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And one thing that I will tab into, jump into about the mics real quick. Like I'm using right now. I've been experimenting because I've been trying to figure out how to do like the ultimate on the go podcast. And I'm using an iPad with the Yeti, but I got all the
Yeah.
extra extensions to it. So,
Oh, fat.
for my kid, huh?
Oh, that's fat. That's cool.
Yeah. So what I've been doing right now is like when I go back to the computer, I fix my mic because USB mics, at least on this quality level, got the interface built into it, so I can fix my gain and I can turn these little different things. So I
That's
tell
right.
everybody this one thing: if you're using USB mics, when you're starting out, if you get that little $30 Samson, or if you go get the microphone from Five Below, do not get the microphone that hooks into the headphone jack,
Yes.
because when you get that, that shit is trouble in paradise. That
It's
motherfucker
it's it's
sound crazy.
basically it's basically your computer mic on steroids. You know what I'm saying? It literally picks up every little fucking sound. And what you want from a microphone is to clear out the background sound, but to keep you loud and your voice in focus.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. And me personally, I have nothing against a XLR setup. Just for me, where I'm on the go, I said I put a little money into the Yetis, which I got them on a low for like $60. I bought three of them, so I got a
That's not
studio.
bad, bruh. The lowest I've seen is 80 on them things.
Right. So I got them for 60, like three of them for it was like 180 or whatever it was.
Nice.
And the thing was like, I knew how to set up an aggregated device. One thing I say inside podcasting, you gotta, to be successful, and I'm not talking about money, just being successful, you gotta read. You gotta read a
Yeah.
little bit of information.
Facts. Facts.
Yeah, no doubt in that.
Especially on the things that you want to do. If you want a podcast, you want to learn about microphones, you want to learn about programs on your computer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
All
definitely
that.
to edit it. And I even tell people because like from the iPad, I learned, since I'm an Apple guy, I got GarageBand. After I'm done recording this, I can throw this over in GarageBand and work it out. Now, on the other systems, like if you got to use Audacity or you using Windows or you on a Surface tablet or something, I'm just going to be honest. Anybody that's on a Windows thing, like, just use a computer. Use a laptop or desktop. Don't be out there using the
Yeah.
Surface tablet because that's some extraness that you can't. It don't, it
Sure.
don't. It ain't got no symmetry to it.
That makes
Now,
sense. I
so
use
now,
a Focusrite.
ooh,
I got the four generation four. I don't know, something like that. And it connects into my laptop with a USB, but I can plug in an XLR mic. So
ooh,
yeah, and it's actually very portable. It's very small. I would show you, man, but that'll mess it all up. But
but
yeah, and then I just got my headphones plugged into the Focusrite. Now it's not a
okay.
Rodecaster. Now Rodecaster is probably twice the price, but you can add sound effects with the Rodecaster. You know what I'm saying? You can actually make a literal radio show off of your Rodecaster. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty sweet. So if you're gonna spend money, get the Rodecaster for real. But if you're like me, where I just like to talk, I don't want to make a radio show. I just want to do a Joe Rogan style podcast, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But I think this one is perfect for me. The Focusrite.
All right, so now I'm gonna have to challenge you. At some point, I'm gonna need you to get the extra camera in the background, just bring it up somewhere, and make a video about that. We definitely need to see that on Instagram.
I'll show you.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I've gone. See, I can grab this because it's real close. Um,
don't fall out your seat.
nah. I started with one of these.
Oh snap! Yes.
Yeah. So, and everything that got recorded into a thumb drive.
Okay,
So
that
some
makes sense.
and from there you can play tracks and add music and stuff like that. But it was just not my style. You know what I'm saying? Um, but so that's when I got the Focusrite basically, and I had some sound issues with that you know I bought it from China on Wish.
Oh, but I will say this though, I am wholeheartedly in agreement with you on going out here and spending just a little bit of money to get a
Just
good
a
mic.
little bit, yeah, just a little
And I
bit.
mean, And like I tell people, man, if once you get to a certain level, get the XLR set up. If you gotta have a great sound from the beginning, if you already got promotion behind you and all that stuff, do that. But if you gotta
Yeah,
start out, or if you just mobile like I am, get them good USB mics. Like don't be out here
facts.
with the other ones that go crazy because the Samson mic is good, but if you clip it on something or this is another pet peeve I have about people using microphones, like even with live, because I use my mic on live,
Hmm.
like directly hooked into the iPad. Don't have a power source run into your microphone. Let your mic run off the power off your iPad or your
Off the
device.
iPad, yes,
Yeah,
for
because when
sure.
you hook that power in, it's gonna go intergalactic type shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's it.
It gives you a bunch of feedback.
Yeah,
There's actually little things, I don't know what they're called, but you can actually put them on the wire and it'll help with the feedback on there. But it's like, how much are you gonna spend on USB this, USB that? You know what I'm saying? When for me, like I'm talking about overtime. For
yeah,
me, because well, anyway, for me, I feel like that spending $70 on a microphone, which I didn't spend actually, this was given to me, and then $400 on the Focusrite, that I don't have to worry about nothing for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to worry about um, my Yeti mic breaking, or not that Yeti would break. You know what I'm saying? I don't know Yeti that well. I wish I had a Yeti mic when I first started though, back in 3L. That would have been the shit. I don't think we would have ever stopped, to be perfectly honest. But my biggest pet peeve was just sound. I wanted it to sound super clear and enclosed at the same time. I'm still working on the enclosure part because it still sounds a little hollow in here. But other than that, man, yeah, yo, microphones are extremely important, man. Extremely important. No matter what kind of microphone you start with, make sure you at least have a microphone.
yeah. And the thing is, and my other thing to people that's recording in a car, because I tell you, this is crazy. I seen a dude.
I
He
did
had
it.
the
I've done
Yeti.
it. I've
Listen,
done
he
it.
had the Yeti in the cup holder.
Hmm.
If you are in the car recording, don't have the power to your car turned on.
No, you'll hear the AC. You hear the ding, ding, dings. You'll hear all that shit, man. You'll hear all of it for real.
Yeah, way too much stuff. Now let's get in here to this producing that you do. Like I said, we talked about the Tylers earlier. So what do you offer people in the packages that you do with editing and producing?
It depends, man. If you're just starting off, it's like $10 clips, $5 clips that I can do for you. Nothing too crazy. But if you want to add video and you want me to edit a full podcast, obviously it gets a little more expensive. But as of right now, I'm practicing on the people that I know and the people that allow me to do it. So, the only thing I can really say is if you like my work, you go check their podcast out.
All right,
Meet the
and if you don't,
Tylers,
yeah,
meet the Tylers, Brandon Janu, the Cognac Room. If you,
yes,
yeah, if you watch them, you can definitely check. You can definitely see my style. You know what I'm saying? And so I try to incorporate your brand into your podcast instead of having just two people talking and you introducing yourself. You'll have a visual branding on the screen. You know what I'm saying? Basically.
okay, and I appreciate that, man, because like I said, once I heard about what you were doing, and then I seen what you did with Mr. Christian over there, um, it's those
That's my
things
boy.
like
That's my
that, like
homie right there.
yeah,
That's
that's
my
my
homie.
dude too.
Yeah,
We
I've
got
known
an
him for a
episode. I
couple years now, man. We kind of started at the same time.
okay,
Yeah. And our
yeah,
podcast kind of grew at the same time. You know what I mean?
he's a good dude. We got an episode that's in the tank. He's actually in my season 8 because I'm one of them workhorses. I record so many episodes. Like this one is going to drop fairly early. I'm gonna try to have it out before Christmas.
Sweet.
But
Appreciate
with the
that.
rest
That's
of my
dope as
show,
fuck. I
yeah, the
can't wait
rest
to
of the
watch
shows,
it.
like I kind of, yeah, listen, the rest of them shits, they ain't coming out till May. I got shows all the way up until like June 1st for real. But
Nah,
but that's I'm just that kind of I'm Tupac or Biggie in the Tupac in the studio.
I
Now
feel you.
now what does it take to get an episode edited by you?
As far as what, like effort and
Yeah,
time?
yeah.
It depends. If it's my first time doing your podcast, it could take a day, maybe a little more, to edit one episode. But if I done work with you before, and basically already have the template saved. It's a lot easier. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, oh, I want to give a tip. If
Okay.
you are recording on Zoom, always record in gallery view. It helps. I'm telling you because the person that's editing it can take this video, do a lot of things with it. I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to give all my secrets away, but there's a
Right.
lot of there's a lot of things that people can do, and it's a lot easier if it's in gallery view rather than in speaker view on Zoom. Just to let y'all know.
Okay. So see that that's the inside tip right there. Now,
Yeah.
what are we looking forward to in the future with you?
Hopefully a lot more production. I'm trying to lay off of the podcast part as much and being a host. I want to be more in the background, and that was kind of another reason I started podcasting because I like to do the background stuff. I like to edit. I like to be able to make clips. That kind of stuff is what I enjoy. And nobody's gonna teach you, so you got to teach yourself, and that's what I've been doing since I've been editing and producing podcasts. I'm teaching myself all this. You know what I mean?
Right. And see that stuff is so smooth because like I said, I do stuff behind the scenes. Well, I do a lot behind the scenes, but I don't say that. But the thing is, like, that's what happened to me. Like I started pumping out episodes, got a little popular, and then I realized that I was going to be more of an asset behind the scenes. Do a great podcast for whatever it's worth. I tell everybody my show is very amateurish. Sometimes that sound ain't all right. That's because the people I'm recording with or how I'm recording. I might be
Sure.
recording, whatever. But I always tell everybody it's amateurish. I don't even have an intro. The only time you hear intros is if I hit the microphone. But but I always tell
Well,
people if
hey,
you
I tell you what, I'll make you one if you want me to make you one. I'll make you a freaking intro. You know what I'm saying? Give me a couple taglines of what you say. I'll throw a little bit of music background, throw a little bit of clips back there for you. If you want me to do it, I'll do it, man. Fuck.
are definitely we'll have to get in touch and we'll get contracted on something. But the only reason
Contracted? I don't work on contracts, bro.
I'll listen, bro. They'll tell you about me. Ask somebody about me. I get them contracts because I might keep you for a while. I got to retain you. I'm like Vince McMahon out here, man. I need a 1099 you and everything, and then
Oh
if something
yeah,
goes crazy,
see,
I'm gonna send you to
hey.
AEW or something. But
Speaking of AEW, me and my buddy Kyle from the Skank Bank, we actually watched that, and it's on our Patreon. So we watched. I'm not big on wrestling like that, but he is. He's a former wrestler, so he kind of gives me the insights of pretty much every match and every wrestler, man. And you just watch us basically talk shit about it the whole time.
I said that's crazy. So definitely jump onto the Patreon, get out there, and I like that. You just touch on something that I try to tell podcasters after they get about 20, 30 episodes deep. It's all right to give certain access to yourself, but over time you got to lock that. You got to put a paywall between your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I wanted to
And
ask you.
it protects you. It protects the person because sometimes you may not want to put something out that is, I don't know, offensive or could be taken the wrong way. Well, you could put it on your Patreon, and if you want to see that, then you pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and see that's what I do. Like I got a mailing list, right? And my premium people
Do
that
you
have
do
been
it
with
through
me so
Mailchimp?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm have to get with you on that because I got to learn that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that. Catch me one Sunday for that. But listen, this is what
Facts.
I do. That 200-300 people that's now in the group altogether start out with just like 50, but those are my diehard fans. So I make sure they get premium episodes. Like if I
Sure.
release something, or if me and the old lady, because she'll come on once in a while to do the movie reviews, because we just do them, or when we do true crime. I'm about to work on one. I'm gonna have to get some people from Virginia with me on this one. It was a murder years ago called Alexis Murphy. It was a real big to do. So if you ever
You
available,
talking about the one that got killed at the college by I forgot the guy's name now, man.
down there
He ended
below
up
by the. Go ahead.
he ended up getting convicted of murder for like multiple murders from
Yeah, down there by UVA.
yeah. Well, my cousin supposedly got murdered by this man.
Yeah, and see, and the crazy thing is that all these, and I ain't got no beef with any of the true crime podcasts that I deal with, but I've asked so many people to do this, but nobody wants to touch a story. Like, because that joint goes from like wasn't it like the '90s all the way up to the 2000s or late
Maybe
'90s
not.
up.
Yeah, maybe I can't remember too much.
but I know it's a long
I got
time.
the note. I got the notes around here somewhere, man. I just cannot remember. Uh, Jesse, what's his name? Jesse. I can't remember, man. And we
Yeah,
may
but
not
you,
even
but
be. We may not even be talking about the same person, to be perfectly
nah,
honest.
bro, we talking about the same person because he murdered all them girls down there, like in that area.
Yeah. All right. But damn, I didn't even write his name down. Ain't that something?
But yeah, we can go.
Uh,
We can dip into that though.
Sophie May Rivera. That's my cousin. That's one
Okay.
of the supposed victims. She's been missing since 2003 or something like that, man.
Yeah, because dude had a stretch on him, and some of them they said he got bodies everywhere. They said it was like wild. It was like Northern Virginia to he ain't getting no further than Richmond, but
Nah, yeah, he went something. Well, where this happened by Virginia Beach, that that's
oh
2 hours
yeah,
past
I'm
Richmond. Yeah,
yeah
so
something with Interstate 64. But I know it was something like nobody wants to deal with it. They want to talk about all these other stuff, which each crime is not equal, but still, I think it'll be a good
sure.
true crime episode.
That gentleman actually, I don't want to call him gentleman, but that man actually has cancer now. He's stage 4 cancer. He's dying. He may not make it past this year.
Hmm. Well, I ain't gonna say nothing on that. That's just the world's way of dealing with him, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now on the brighter topics, so 2022 is gonna roll around. You want to get more behind the scenes. You want to do this. You want to do that. Um, what's the major goal for you?
Um, to be proficient in what I do. I'm not quite there yet. I have a vision and I'm learning as I go, but I want to be proficient in it. I want to be able to say, "Oh, you want me to make this music video for you? Bet I got you. You want me to make this cooking show for you? I got you." You know what I'm saying? I want to be diverse. I want to be able to say, I'm confident in my skills and that he's good. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be this some nah. He's a shitty producer, man. And, we don't care about what he does. You know what I mean?
So multimedia mogul, basically.
Essentially, yeah, essentially. But I want to you see like I'm very analytical. So when I get into these programs, I'm zoned in. I get into these programs like I use Adobe Premiere Pro to edit my podcast and do everything with my podcast. So and everybody else's. So I'm self-taught for everything that I do, and I'm still learning as I go. So like whenever Adobe comes out with a new thing that they're doing, I make sure to stay right on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Because people are gonna want that. Um, so that's what I use, and I want to be able to if I can if I can sit here and zone out for 12 hours a day, I'll be happy and get paid for it. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I can sit here for 12 hours and edit certain podcasts, different podcasts every day of the week, or maybe not even podcast, something else, I'll be happy, yo. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I feel you definitely on that because, like I said, that's that connect there. Labor of love goes into fruition and becomes something that you really like to do.
And
Now,
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of podcasts, man. I'm a fan of podcasts and people talking, and I want to be able to help in any way that I can. You know what I'm saying?
and see, that's why I got you on this behind the scenes episode because you do so much behind the scenes. That's the type of stuff people need to hear so they know who to go to. Now,
No doubt.
we're gonna do a
Holla at
little
me.
pocket, huh?
No, I said holla at me.
Yeah, I'll let them know down. Now we're gonna do a little podcast collide real quick because I told you, I made the assumption you didn't want that episode, so I just said we're gonna do behind the scenes. So
Oh,
here's a
nah,
few
you
podcast
already know,
collide.
brother.
Yeah, so here's a few podcast collide questions for you real quick, and these are ones that I ask everybody. What was your first disappointment in podcasting?
Oh man. Um, I would have to say when the crew broke up for 3L, that was my first disappointment for sure.
And how did you
Because I
come back
thought
from that?
I ended up making my own. But that was because we were friends, man. You know what I'm saying? And we get together every week. We drink, we bullshit, and we talk shit to each other the whole night. And it was fun. And then shit happened. But that was my first major disappointment because I knew at that moment that I was more what's the word? I was more determined to make a podcast than they were. They were doing it for fun. I was doing it to make not money necessarily, but to make a good show, to make something that people can listen to. You know what I'm saying? So breaking up, yeah, that kind of just screwed me up. So to be perfectly honest, I've been kind of finding my way ever since. You know what I mean?
Okay, I feel you on that because my only disappointment in this whole thing is, and we talk about that whole deal about people not showing love to your podcast. I ain't worried about that no more because if you don't show love, it's cool.
It breaks you.
Yeah, I mean it breaks you to a degree, but after a while, I'm like, okay, move along. My greatest disappointment now is that everybody that gives advice, every person that helps someone, only gives half of the advice.
Mm.
When I watch things on, and I'm not seeing any people in particular, but when I see people say, get your audience big, monetize your podcast, do this or that. Now, the monetizing part, I understand putting a paywall in front of it because I had to take a lot of rejection. I had to actually learn how to do great pitches and different things like that. So I should get paid for that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And the analytics stuff that we do on our end, yeah, I should get paid for that. If you want some normal advice or just how to get there, yeah, I'll tell you how to get to the table, but I ain't gonna give you all that. But this is the advice that gets me is actually telling someone how to grow their podcast. Like people will act like it's such a nuisance to help someone grow their podcast. That's why I tell them do the Spotify, the Snapchat, and don't keep your location on too long because you'll get pop smoked out here, and you don't want to get pop smoked. Rest
And
in
that's
peace to
why I
that
don't
man.
understand. That's why I don't understand a lot of these podcasters. They tell you every little bit of what they're doing. It's like, yo, we don't want to hear what you're doing today, tomorrow, and the next day, bro.
Right,
Easy. I understand you want things to talk about, bro, but just summarize it a little bit. You know what I mean?
right. So like what I do is I like my thing is I like to give a little bit of advice, but I don't like to do too much with it, because there's a dude that does WordPress. I don't do word. I mean, I have my stuff set on WordPress, but I got somebody that did that for me. So
Yeah, yeah.
do that. Now here's my next question: what is a common mistake outside of the microphone? Because you jumped into that. That's one of the podcast collide questions all the time. What is one common mistake that podcasters make while they're podcasting?
Um, I would say not being you, not being the person that you are in your podcast. Um, Sometimes you can get hyped up and you got somebody with you and it just doesn't turn out the way you want it to turn out. You know what I mean? You didn't ask the questions you wanted to ask. You didn't lead the conversation where you wanted to lead it. And it's like sometimes you're just having fun. But a lot of times those fun episodes, like, they really don't have any substance, man. I think also segments are important. You got to have segments. If you're talking about one topic for an hour, it can get boring for the listener. You know what I'm saying? If you switch it up a little bit, maybe even have two topics for the hour or whatever it is. Just do something like that. But that's probably maybe that's the biggest mistake. I think that's the biggest mistake is not having, like, you have questions. You have questions, and that's great. Most people just come in, I got a topic. Let's talk about it. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? No lead in, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, all right, man, just you gotta act, it's a show, man. Host a show. That's it, I guess.
Okay. Because like I said, like I don't know, man. People they throw some blowing jabs at me because they say, "Oh, you have a scripted show," but I'm like, in all
There's nothing
honesty,
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of the like I said, most of the biggest shows that you ever heard of are scripted.
yeah. So I say like I got 20 questions, but we only ask you 10, and then I
Yeah.
throw in some new ones after we get the organic stuff going on in the show. Then I throw you some curveballs in there. Then I do my little 2020 segment, which is part of my show, and then we go from there. And the simple reason that I do that is because, like I said, you gotta have certain aesthetics in them episodes,
Yeah,
and
man. And you have to have a
and what?
clip too. You got to think about that.
Yes,
You got to have a clip. So you got to make a clip. It's just not gonna happen sometimes. So
right.
so you have to be able to bring the conversation to where a point where the guest says something inspirational or says something that's right on that you can use that as a clip.
Right. And that's what I wholeheartedly agree with. Like you gotta make gems. Like I need to at least get 2 gems outside of inside of the episode. If I can get
Right.
4 or 6 of them, then that's good there. And then one thing I learned too, and this is kind of crazy. I started listening to these little 15-minute and 8-minute podcasts. And in my next season, I went ahead and started like I talked about Sega, Nintendo, and Sony, how they were profound because I'm 36 years old. They was profound in my life. And
Me
through that
too.
little 90s stretch up until 96 when the PlayStation came out, life was nothing but
Yeah.
Sega and Nintendo. And you
All
know,
right.
I made an 8-minute episode, but the reason I did it so low is because I was able to hit the points and it was just me. Now, if I could get a group together, I might have to just remix that episode. I've been thinking about doing a remix to it before I put it out. So I
Word.
have to bring you on for that. Cause
Hey,
like
word. Hey, that'll work.
yeah, because like you know, some of us grew up Nintendo and Sega, and then some of us just had the Nintendo or the Sega, and like I was like, I don't need to go into deep detail. I just need to go from 1991 to 96, and then Sega Saturn was 95. But we ain't worry about
Yeah.
that. 96 was the year that PlayStation, and then I think the 64 came out. Then when them two came out,
I
game.
love Sega CD, man. They had
Oh, you had the Sega CD?
yeah, man. They had sewer sharks on that shit, man. The sewer sharks was the shit. I can't pronounce it, but yeah, it was the shit.
Damn, that shit. Sega CD had the Night Trap on it too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I
Jaguar
remember.
64. That was
Yeah.
on there.
Oh, the Atari. Hey, look, I had this
They
bullshit ass
redid it.
Highlander.
It was a game called Jaguar 64, and it was an actual Jaguar, and it was like that dolphin game. I don't know if you
Yeah,
Echo.
Eco.
Okay, yeah, it was like that basically.
Damn. I had
Hmm.
Highlander on that.
There you go.
Yeah, I had Highlander on the Atari with that fucked up ass controller. Cause didn't it have a bunch of buttons or something?
The controller,
Yeah, the controller was
the
funky as hell.
yeah, it had some weird ass buttons on it for sure. It had like a joystick on it and a bunch of buttons. It was different.
And then the rich boy down the road had a 3DO. I ain't have a
Uh,
3DO.
I never had that 3DO. Hell
Yeah, that
nah.
shit was like $5.99 back then. So
Yeah, fuck
yeah.
that.
My mom would
Nah,
have just bought 2 Super Nintendos.
my parents got us the Super Nintendo or the regular Nintendo, the NES in '88. So the first games I played were Gyromite, Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Excite Bike, um, geez, probably that. Most that's it basically. And Mario, but I was never really big on Mario and Duck Hunt because it came
Yeah,
together.
Duck
But
Hunt was
Duck Hunt, I played a lot more than Mario. That's for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And the sad thing is I got to a point where I could speedrun Mario with the warps and everything. I could beat that
Oh,
game in
see, that's
25
great.
minutes.
What? That's
Yeah.
crazy as hell, yo.
Well, I mean, I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer outside of this, so like, yeah, that was kind of crazy there. But
That's
yeah, we'll
facts.
definitely have to talk about that sometime. Now, switching back over to the hold on. One more thing I wanted to say on that Nintendo though. What was the game I had? It was not Chippendale, the
I was gonna say
Rescue
you had
Rangers.
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
Chippendale Rescue Rangers. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I modded the little Nintendo and put that on there because I was like, I gotta have that. So
Facts.
yeah, definitely did that one. That's give them a shout out on that one. Capcom made some good games back in the day. Now,
Word.
now inside podcast, I want your opinion on this, and this is something that's been kind of harsh on. I've been harsh on people about. You record episodes with people, and I always tell people like, I got an obligation to you to put the episode out, but sometimes I want the people to storyboard. It's got to all fall in line with all my plans because I can lose out on stuff with my brand. So sometimes I might promise an episode to somebody and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna put that joint out November 22nd," and then that shit don't come out for a whole year.
Hmm.
And I come back and I explain to them why it didn't come out. They get a little offended, but I'm like, I'm gonna put it out. It might be one of the episodes from the vault, but it'll get out there. How do you feel about some people shelving episodes sometimes?
I don't shelve up episodes, so whenever I record them, I put them out no matter what. But I don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's your show. You decide when the hell it comes out. It doesn't matter. Who cares? If that person has a problem with it, well, I guarantee you when it does come out, they're gonna be sharing it. You know what I
Yeah. Well, nah, people get mad, but I tell them I was like, it's a real delicate process because when I'm dealing with the mental health, if I'm going female mental health, male mental health, combined together relationship mental health, I gotta keep that flow going. I
Yeah,
can't just
facts.
go out here and talk about this ragtag episode about a Jeep that we found in the middle of Virginia somewhere, and we took it to the chop shop in North Carolina, got some money off of it.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that though. Shit. That sounds like a good story.
We won't talk about it tonight. but but anyway, so yeah, sometimes I deal with a little grief.
What you left out of the story is that you actually stole the car and then you brought it to the chop shop.
So you're right. But like I said, we ain't gonna implicate nobody or say anything about that right now. I knew we was gonna have a good time on this one. Now sometimes one thing that happens in podcasting, and I call us the middle tier independent podcasting community, because you get to the middle tier gets kind of funny because you still have hobbyists, and then you got people that are getting in the door that they want to make some money. Then you got some people that just make money. And the people that just make money, I always say that it's a combination of business or whatever, or knowing somebody that can get you in the door. But there's something else that happens in podcasting, and this is crazy. Podcast beef.
Ooh, boy. That's a topic.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you about. Like me, myself, and I'll just say this and leave it at this. When I have beef with a podcast, it is an international podcast because I can't do nothing local because I can get to you on land. Me and the UK, we beef. Like the UK don't even listen to me no more.
I'm cool with the UK, man. That's my biggest audience is in the UK.
Yeah, the UK, me and the UK don't get along because one of the top podcasts, we got into a beef and like everybody knows that it was a work now. That's something that they use in wrestling. Like we did have a legitimate beef, but we took it, put it inside a little paid section, and only people that paid for it got to hear it. I mean, it was like beat the streets type stuff. So that was fun with me. So how do you stay out of beef? Like, because that's one thing that you definitely have to get out of. Like, how do you stay away from it?
Sorry about that. Honestly, man, I'm just cool with everybody, you know, and I don't expect. Listen, I started my podcast about anxiety and depression, man. So it's like the only way I can see it is like maybe that person has anxiety or depression or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So for whatever reason, they're acting that way. So like I try not to take anything personal unless it's a personal attack, and I have yet to get a personal attack. As far as beefs, dude, make sure you're on that person's level or above it before you talk shit. That's all.
That's what I say. That's what I say.
That's like all I'll be in the background, say, man. That's
when I'm on Instagram and I see it, I'm like, bro, this dude will blow you out the wind.
Yeah, exactly.
And like that's why like I see certain competitions sometimes, and I tell people, you know, every day, man, I'm not really even a podcaster. I'm a talk show host.
Yeah.
If you want to go bar for bar with me on questions, yes, I'm gonna eat you up in questions because I'm like the Tavis Smiley of podcasting. That's what I do. That's what I do. But if you're talking about every other aspect, I'll bow down to somebody on that. Like some people got a smooth delivery for this and that. Like you got a smooth delivery and you just keep the flow going. You and
really? I try.
Well, no, you and Uncle Dolomite kind of got this thing going. That's one dude, Too Much Game. I'll definitely give him a quick shout out because that dude's ridiculous. I don't know how he can do a whole show by itself. I was talking to somebody else about that too. But anyway, yeah, I had to steer clear of certain people because I'm like, man, this dude's trying to be confrontational. Yeah. And then I'll tell you my one pet peeve in this business is I don't want to hear about anybody's downloads. I don't care about that shit. I don't want to hear about nobody's downloads.
And it's really not important. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing to brag about, really.
Right, because like I said,
there's always going to be somebody that has more than you.
Right, and this is my one thing. Like I tell people, certain successes you tell. Like when I got my deal with a little company, I threw it up on my story. I didn't post it up on my post because I don't want to knock the next man from not trying to get a deal with a company to do something. But I don't go out there and put how many downloads I have, how many listeners I have. I mentioned it on one podcast because they asked, and I just left it at that. But I don't go out here and do that because I don't want to never discourage anybody from doing a podcast better than mine because somebody might do a show better than mine, and it might have no traction.
Yep.
So my pet peeve is right. Yeah, my pet peeve on that is just like keep your numbers to yourself. Like if you're doing numbers and you're doing good, people will talk about it if you're doing good. They ain't going to just sit there and they be like, that dude don't say nothing. Yeah. And then automation. This is my pet peeve. Automation is so easy when it comes to this whole social media thing. I tell people so many times, all you got to do is put every app on your phone and go to Spotify. and then share your episodes and share somebody else's. I
Yeah.
tell somebody I do not want your like. Like me and this one dude out of DC, he followed me, unfollowed me, then unfollowed me again. I was like, dude, don't have to follow me again. I don't need
Yeah.
your like. If you listen to my
Right.
podcast, I'm gonna
Right.
listen to yours. And I listen to that man's podcast to this day. It's on my subscription list.
Vibes. I know who it is.
Not
Vibes podcast. We calling you out. That's the only guy I know that's in DC. Actually, that's why I said that.
him, but it's another guy. But either way, some listen, sometimes it happens like that. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to be, but I don't want your follow. I just need you to, if you're gonna promote my podcast, put it out there. Like I'm gonna take one of your episodes, I'm gonna take it off of iHeartRadio now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pump people on iHeartRadio, get their numbers up
Mm-hmm.
over there. You know,
Sure.
I'll do a few shares here and there for you on this and that, and that's just out of love. I don't need it returned to me, but do it for somebody else.
Right, and that's important.
Right. And that's the one thing that gets me about people in podcasting. So what is one of your things that you think that podcasters could do better as a whole for them, for other podcasters?
Um, if you see somebody struggling or not knowing something that you know, just tell them, help them out. You know what I'm saying? And if it depends if the person wants the advice, but always give advice. Just get, hey man, I noticed, your ratio was off on your Instagram video. I don't know what program you use, but try using. If you can change your video quality to 1080 by 1080, that's perfect for Instagram. If you want YouTube 1920 by 1080, that's perfect for YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's um, little things like that. You know what I'm saying? People may not understand what I'm saying now, but there are things that you can do to help other podcasters out. But at the same time, you don't want to help every podcaster because then you may not first and foremost you may not like every podcaster, but nonetheless share your knowledge. You know what I mean? Don't keep it all to yourself.
Right. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Now it comes a portion in this show, Rsay, where we tie in things together, like get you a little bit more personable for the audience. And this thing right here, like I had this lady on here with me. She went to the store, like Goodwill. She buys art, right? She put it and puts rhinestones on it, then resells it. Another lady, she goes out here and she worked at a rock quarry place, so she could tell you every rock, like limestone, whatever you need. She can tell you any rock by just picking it up off the ground, if it's
Interesting.
igneous or whatever. So they all had a talent or a secret. So what's a secret or talent that nobody knows about you that you would like to dish out to us right now? And listen, it can't be nothing about Michael Bolton or that you sing like Michael McDonald or something.
No, nah. Ain't none of that, man. Ain't none of that. Damn, man. That's a good question.
All right, so I'll give you a little time to think about it. I'll throw some more filler in here. And this is one of those things that I like to do, audience, sometimes.
Hmm.
It was another lady that had this quirk, as we call it. When she hears a carbonated drink open, like the can open, she will stop what she's doing. She will stop her job and go home. It's a sick day for her. And I'm thinking to myself,
What?
that's some real barrier type shit. Like I'm not gonna let nothing like that stop me from working, but she did or does.
Yeah.
Um, and then mine, for instance, everybody knows mine. I can't swim, but I go to them. I go do that Mountain Dew shit. You know, I'll be out there near the ocean and like all kinds of crazy places, and you'll see me out there. But I got Stacy with me. She can catch me if I fall in the water. I ain't gonna die.
I feel you.
Yeah. So
Um, yo, I still don't know nothing, man. To be perfectly honest, man, I just work hard, man. That's it, yo. Well, what I do, and I'm always constantly learning. But something like that's different than everybody else, bro.
I mean, you might watch anime. You might watch a certain anime. Like for instance, I
Oh,
dig in.
all right, bet. I'm gonna go geeky as shit. I'm gonna go geeky as hell on you then.
Okay, go ahead.
The Curse of Oak Island. I have been watching that since the beginning. I love The Curse of Oak Island. And and the amount of history that they've found on that little island in Nova Scotia is amazing to me.
Oh wow, that's a little twist. All right, let's see. I appreciate that because that's something that nobody would ever know about you because you ain't gonna tell nobody.
Facts.
And,
No,
and like I
if
told
nobody
somebody,
asks, you know what I mean?
yeah, like I told people, I watch No Hero Academia. Do I watch
Yeah.
any other anime? Nah. Did I
Mm-hmm.
used to watch anime? Yeah, back in the day, like some Cowboy Bebop type shit. But
Right.
anything new? Nah. And do I play
Yeah.
video games? Yeah, I play games, but I am exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. I got the PlayStation and the Xbox, but
Yeah.
Nintendo's my thing.
Hey, can you give me a second real quick? I'll be
Yeah, go
right
ahead, do
back.
that.
I promise, man.
Now that was just the moment we had to take for the sponsor real quick because I got to keep the lights on. If I don't do that, then I'm gonna be out of a show and out of business real quick. I mean,
Yeah.
I can do it for fun.
Shout out to Blue Chew for real, man, making our dicks hard.
Now, Rsay, this is what I need you to do real quick. I need you to give a quick shout out to everybody that's helped you along the way. Because like behind me, I got Stacy and the promotion team, Irish Steve, uh, Trevor, the rest of the crew, everybody that's involved. So I don't give them any shout outs because they part of the show. They don't need that. But on behalf of you, who's behind you, who's supporting you, like telling you to keep going.
Uh, First and foremost, Jay Christian. Uh, if it wasn't for him, man, I wouldn't be here podcasting or interviewing with you today, man, because I've quit so many times, and he is the one that kept me going for real.
Okay,
And
so definitely about to give him a shout out.
yeah, facts, man. Jay Christian, the whole Cognac Room podcast, man, for real, they're great. And then Big Smash, man, he really has helped when jumping on Measure of Men and doing all that. It gave me the confidence of of making my own podcast. I don't know, a little more accessible because I would hide my podcast. I would record it, but then I wouldn't really put it out there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't promote it. So nobody's
Right.
gonna listen to something that's not promoted, or you know what I'm saying. So I did that for so long, and then I stopped hiding them. I started promoting them more. I started doing all this and all that, all because of Measure of Men. So shout out to Smash for that, and Morio. Shout out to Morio because he's the reason I'm producing.
Okay.
Yeah, he is the reason I'm producing. Me and him are working on a bunch of projects together, man. And
Okay.
as much as I think Channel 82 is going to be as big as I think it's going to be. Uh, I still don't want my name out there like that. I know it's weird, man, and like I'm not looking for recognition or anything like that. I really am not. I just like to see my work out there.
Or you like to see quality. And that's one thing that I got from
Yeah.
everybody I've talked to about you. That's one thing I do want to tell you before we get off here. Now, RC, I want to thank you for coming on West Virginia and Commonplace because, like I said, this is one of them things, and I speak nothing highly or great about my podcast. It's one of those deals where, like, when time frames work with people, we can get good episodes out like this. So I definitely appreciate you on here. Now, do me real quick, shameless plug, real fast, and then a little bit about 2022, and then we'll jump off here.
Bet. Skankbank Podcast, patreon.com/the Skankbank, and the Rsay Podcast. That's the one that I do by myself. That's patreon.com/Rsay. But you don't want to pay, obviously. Just go and subscribe to the YouTube channels. Everything is on there.
All right, and this is JR, and this has been a behind the scenes episode. This behind the scenes has been about Rsay, the producer, the editor, the podcast host, the philanthropist, everything that goes on
That
in
shit's
his
still
world.
weird to hear, man. I ain't going front.
Right, right, right. So, so once again, thank you for coming on the show, and we're out.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
It'll stop recording.